Welcome to the Life of a Marketer podcast. Today we have Marc on the podcast, like myself. Marc is a Google Ads expert, so I am excited to have him on today. Marc, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I guess I'm Mark. I am Google Ads specialist. I dabble in all things paid media, but again, so the focus is in PPC. Have a background in influencer marketing as well, social media management, specifically short form video content. So what I do is run a digital marketing agency that's called Bounce Marketing. And we do so Google Ads management and social media management.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So we're going to just dive right into our typical questions that we ask on the podcast. What's the best thing for you about being in the marketing industry?
Yeah, I think the flexibility and specifically, digital marketing, it being completely online, offers a lot of again, so flexibility in terms of working remote and being able to work from wherever you want. So obviously that was a big one with me starting the agency. I wanted to be able to work and travel if needed. I love working from coffee shops. I love working with my laptop in a hammock. I think it's just a really, a relaxed work-life balance if you can, swing it. So really the ability to be able to work wherever you want, work remote, offers a really great lifestyle.
I agree with that. Sometimes it can be nice. You can work from wherever. Other times it can be brutal as well. As you, I'm sure you know. So you do have to work really hard if you're going to be a PPC marketer. It's a lot of work. But yeah, I agree
For
with that.
sure.
What sort of advice do you offer to those that are in the marketing industry right now?
Yeah, so I think keeping up to date is really important, specifically with Google Ads and PPC. I think as of recently, specifically with AI and everything, I mean, how fast the changes are made in Google Ads, from campaign types or campaign launches like PMax or, demand gen or whatever it is, and then updates in terms of how match types of keywords are working, from one day to the next, what's working in an account can be different. And, what's working, for obviously one business versus the next, every account is different. But I think keeping up to date with, the shifts and the changes in the industry and the updates are really important. And, that's why I really look to LinkedIn or newsletters and things like that to keep up to date with the changes and what's working for other people, and always be testing to see what works for your clients.
So what are your favorite newsletters for learning about Google Ads?
Yeah, so do you know the Adrian Decker? He is a LinkedIn influencer. I think he's really huge. He's the go-to one, I would say, for sure. If I'm ever looking for like any updates about Google Ads, I mean, he's on top of it. So that's the one I'd point out. Yeah.
Awesome. So right now, and I know this is a general and a very broad question. What is working best for your clients in general with Google Ads? Which of the ad mediums is best? What are you
Yeah.
seeing that's getting traction for you?
Yeah, I think it's been like this for a long time, but I think search campaigns specifically, at least, with low volume, low spend accounts, the quickest way to get conversions, quickest, returns, ROI would be with search. Obviously, it's account dependent. I think PMax is a little bit of a controversial topic. Is it amazing? Is it not? But I think PMax is definitely something that, when used right and in higher spending accounts, if you can swing it, is a big one. But if I had to point out one campaign type that I'd recommend is specifically for someone, for instance, who's just starting Google Ads or you're a small business, start with search. That's where you see, it's intent-based marketing on search. So that's where you're going to see the quickest returns. That's, I think, always what's been, the bread and butter of what PPC is. And, that's what I would recommend to anyone starting out.
So explain to our audience, because they may not actually know what Performance Max type of campaign is. So can you explain that to our audience?
Yeah, so basically, Performance Max is a campaign type that's relatively somewhat new. Within the past like couple years came out, and it's a campaign type that runs across all of Google's channels. So from YouTube to search to display, it goes across all of the channels. The channels talk to each other, basically use the data to boost performance across all of the channels. So it's something that again, it can be both, I guess, upper funnel and lower funnel, right? Because it runs on search, it runs on YouTube, runs on display. It also is shopping, so it's a kind of catch-all campaign. It's a type of campaign that also isn't as manual as I would say. There's not as much manual labor that gets put into it as there would be with something like search, where you're adjusting keywords and things like that. That's not happening in PMax. It's more about, at least what I think, is optimizing for creatives. Knowing the tricks and ways to to be more cost effective in PMax, like excluding app placements or excluding brand on PMax. These sort of things help you with cost effectiveness, and these are ways that you can optimize your PMax campaigns. But yeah, as a whole, it can be really great. But again, if you have the budget for it, and it is something that makes sense for your marketing goals.
Awesome. So what have been the keys for you to making Performance Max work for your clients?
Yeah, so I think what I would say is creative is key, I guess, with PMax. If you are, running, you have YouTube assets. I'm a big proponent of YouTube, so I guess using multiple, formats for the videos, just really optimizing your creative, right? Optimizing your ad copy is a big one. So copywriting, optimizing what assets you're using for display. Like I said as well, with the little tricks about brand exclusions, things like that. Seeing where your spend is going, using scripts. But I would go for a big one is really just making sure that you're writing the right copy, you're using the right creatives. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Switching gears just a little bit, what are some other successful people that are in marketing like yourself? What are some names of some people that you'd like to acknowledge on the podcast?
Yeah. So a big one influencer I look towards, and I did a little collaboration video. I think he's great. I'm gonna butcher his name, but you know what? I'm not even gonna try. I can't. But I would call him Thomas. He's a big PPC influencer. He runs the PPC Profit Lab. He's, I think, really great. I think the PPC Mastery guys, Miles and Bob, are people I look to for advice and what to do as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And then we have one final question for you for fun. What is the oldest technology you remember using?
The oldest tech. So I'm a big, I guess, gamer. I play a lot of Super Smash Bros. Melee. So the oldest technology I remember using. So my first, video game system was the, I guess, Nintendo Game Boy Color. Yeah, that would be it.
Okay, awesome. That just made me feel so old.
I'm 26, so
Yeah, I feel
yeah,
very old because I can remember when I had played on an Atari as a kid. So, and then I had when I was
gotcha.
11 or 12, I think I had my parents got me for Christmas the Game Boy, but they didn't have color. There was no such thing as a color gaming system. So it was black and
Gotcha.
white. Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I grew up with the Game Boy Advanced and playing Pokemon Ruby. That was my childhood.
All right, awesome. So we've had, I think the record for probably the oldest, we had someone in their close to their 80s, and they said the oldest technology they remember using was a transistor radio. So imagine.
Wow.
And she was like,
Wow.
that lady was posting on Twitter all the time and totally just, totally updated with tech. And it was interesting to have her on. But anyways, it's been wonderful to have you on, Mark. Always good to have another PPC specialist on here. Everyone, you can catch the Life of a Marketer podcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 something. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We stream it all over social media on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we also release it on YouTube. So if you subscribe there, you'll get that. And if you want to be added to our email list, we also release it via email, Jared, Jared, at hiveleadmarketing.com. Just email me and I'll make sure you get added on to the list. Once again, Mark, thanks so much for being on the podcast. This has been an awesome podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.